guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Bella. So a few new subscribers have let me know that you guys have subscribed in the comment section. Good to have you. So do make sure that you press the notification bell and go on all, so you can get the messages when it comes to like short vids, long vids, and the post as well in the community section. And I'll try my best to be on point with the messages from the divine, from the Most High, from your spirit team, from your higher self, and all of that. So I've got a couple of downloads that I've written down that I want to go through in this video. It's not that many. It's not going to be like the 2 hours of the previous downloads, because there's actually a few downloads that I've written in a couple of notebooks that I want to quickly put out there. I feel like it's the divine timing right now as well. Some of you are going through some energies that are being sent out to you, so you're being guided to, like, you know, have a few practices when it comes to raising your frequency. And you can use essential oils, lavender, whatever oils that you like. This is my grandma that's passed away's favorite scent before she passed away, so that's my way of connecting with her as well. Some of you may be connecting with your past over loved ones, being reminded of their scent, being reminded of them some way, somehow. That is because they are around you, sending you some positivity. Let's get right into it. So it says here, meditation reveals to you the pain that you've suppressed when it comes to your emotions. So you're somebody, if you are avoiding meditation, or if meditation is hard for you, you're most likely somebody who does things like other things to forget your mental state of mind. So numbing yourself, you may be taking some things that may numb you. Overindulging, I'm hearing overeating and binging in something, just binging. And this is because you're avoiding an emotional pain. Emotional pain actually has a physical pain symptom. So just because it's not a physically afflicted pain, when it comes to emotions, even if you're not understanding or aware of what it is that you are feeling, you still feel the pain, that irritation that you feel, that uneasiness that you feel, the frustration that you feel. I'm even getting like chemical imbalance in the brain for some of you guys, like the way I'm describing it. When you just feel ADHD, for example, is a trauma response. There's a psychologist, he's not just a psychologist, he is a physician. His name is Gabor Mate, who actually talks about this a lot. He's got a couple of videos up on YouTube. He does have a few books as well, and I think you would definitely benefit from watching his videos or reading his books. One in particular that I really like for people with ADHD, I think it is called Scattered Minds. That is what it's called. That is a very helpful book that basically explains how you can reverse your ADHD symptoms. And it's all to do with understanding or overstanding how you've developed these symptoms in the first place, or this condition in the first place, which is trauma. It is a trauma response. So healing that trauma is going to help. And one of the ways that you can help yourself when it comes to healing is meditation. And if meditation is hard for you, you can start with deep breathing exercises. And one particular breathing exercise that is called dragon's breath. And that is something a lot of physicians who kind of like to use holistic healing for young kids, they like to do this practice or exercise with kids where you go like it's a whole practice that basically helps you reset your breathing and nervous system. Yeah. There's a few other modalities that you can in fact find on YouTube as well. There's a lot out there. You just gotta, sometimes when you don't know what to even search for, it's hard to realize that there's a lot of support and help out there, and self-help practices and exercises. And that is one of the ways. Where did I put the paper? Okay, I put it over there. So it says here, misery loves company. We all know that. So it says here, there's no rational or critical thinking when it comes to fear. So a lot of people don't realize this, but when it comes to anxiety, depression, and anger issues, yes, anger issues too, the underlying emotion is fear. So it's up to you to figure out what it is that you're fearing exactly. But even anxiety can be masked as anger. People think that anxiety is what's the right word when it comes to not doing something? I don't know. I forgot the other word, but it's similar to paralyzing. No, sometimes people go in attack mode, anger mode, overreactive, and it stems from anxiety. So either this is you or somebody else. But it says here, don't surround yourself with people who are not dreamers. Who don't even believe in themselves, because when they see or hear your progress and dreams, it will trigger them, resulting in them saying or doing something, even thinking something that will affect your manifestations and energy. So it's important for you to realize that you sharing your dreams, you sharing your hopes and manifestations with people who don't dream the same way as you, who don't have hope for themselves the same way that you do, people who are stagnant and people who have lost hope, people who have given up even if they had dreams, is going to affect you. I was very stubborn in the past, where I used to say, just because so-and-so is, living this way, it's not going to affect me. I am in control of my life at the end of the day. I know what I'm doing. I was so stubborn. Like, whatever lifestyle, just because we have different lifestyles, it doesn't mean she's going to rub off on me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go down that same path. It doesn't mean that she's going to take over my mind. The person sometimes doesn't have to be doing it intentionally. It's because you're surrounded by a group of people or somebody for so long that it starts to affect your energy. And there's a little clip that I found on Instagram of those I don't know what they called, those little timers that they use for pianos or whatever that go. So there was a few, I think there was like 5 that was set in different times, and then eventually they started syncing. It started going into sync. So we humans are like that as well, where we in sync with those people that we hang around with the most, that we talk to the most. And even hormonally, our hormones starts to, it kind of depends on who's the dominant, who's more like the alpha. I think that it's called the alpha. It's not worth risking it, to be honest. You should be surrounded by people who are dreamers, big thinkers like you. And I feel like you're somebody who is probably gonna get there, who is starting to see the signs that it's only holding you back, and you're triggering them. Just by you focusing on the things that are important to you is actually triggering them. And sometimes they do and say things that are blatant, that they are not happy for you when it comes to, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to succeed in. Sometimes people expose themselves, and sometimes people are very good at hiding their true intentions. So look out for that. Don't just focus on work and goals and achievements, because before you know it, you're old and thinking, wow, time goes by really quick. 1 second, guys, let me just read it to myself. So what I'm basically, the message that I'm getting, I feel like this is your higher self speaking to you. It's the same way I feel like when it comes to other successful people, other people who has reached their life purpose, their goals, their dreams in life, and they look back and they give advice to those people who come after them, who are on the same journey, who are, you know, seeking to find their life purpose, their goal in life. And the people that have already done that and already there, majority of them always, some of them or majority say, sever the moments, enjoy the moments in the now, in the then. For them it was then, for you it is in the now. Sever each moment, enjoy each moment, actually like be present, because you don't want to look back and say, I don't remember this properly, or I should have done this properly, or I should have done this that way. You don't want to be regretful in your future. So you're also going to really appreciate the present that's going to be the past soon when you're out of it. When I say you're going to appreciate it, what I mean is you're going to cherish it. You want to look back and be happy that you were actually living through it, that you didn't skip through it, that you didn't rush through it, that you know, really like lived. And that way you're going to remember the lessons, so you can give the lessons to those who come after you, whether it is your family, your children, or people that is, you know, outside of your family dynamic. And sometimes the past, which is the present that we're talking about, can have a significant meaning or a lesson for the future. There's times where I was in the past now, for me, where there were certain things that were very significant that I've overlooked that could have been very useful for me in the now. Does that make sense? And I think to myself, oh my God, that's why I met that person, that's why I had that conversation, or that's why I ended up there, or that's why this happened, or that's why this didn't happen. And because I wasn't present completely, I didn't clock it then. Yes, hindsight is there for a reason, and you're not going to be completely conscious all the time. But if you are somebody on a journey to success, if you are somebody who knows that you're meant to fulfill something, a goal, a dream in this lifetime, you really don't want to take your present, the now, for granted. And one of the ways that helps me be in the present and, actually live in the now, in my body, and taking in everything, that way you actually get to lucid dream better as well. That way you get to remember your dreams as well, or even be present in your dreams as well. One thing that I've recognized is when I'm not present in my day, it affects my dream. And a lot of the times for all of us, our day, what goes on in the day, carries on in the dream state. A little bit differently because there's no limitations in the dream state, but it does carry on into the dream state too. So I forgot what I was saying before as well. 1 second, guys. Sorry, my son just came in. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying. For some of you, one of the ways I remember now, one of the ways I like that helps me stay present in the now is dhikr, adkar, which is called mantra as well. Doing mantra, meditation, prayer. It helps you kind of like disconnect. Every now and then, we've got a lot of hours during the day. It's good to check in with yourself. You can do it 5 times a day, 10 times a day, 3 times a day, twice a day, whatever suits you. But for me, I like, it is a Pisces trait as well. I'm a Pisces, so to just take the time to breathe in and just be present, see, watch, feel everything. Don't be in auto mode, in the go mode, because that way everything's just gonna by you. Before you know it, your day is over, and you're like, that's why you have forgetfulness as well, because you're not present. When you, one of them ones where you don't remember where you put your keys because you were thinking about you were somewhere else, you weren't present when you was putting your keys where you put them, and you're like, how did I get there? Where was I? And you live by yourself and you're like, what? It happens a lot. Okay, so this is a little bit different to what I've been saying. I've got a couple of messages that are going to feel and sound a bit different, but it may all be related as well. Okay. So it says here, you've been around narcissists and prideful people that made you feel small and irrelevant and undermined you and called you names that caused for you to become probably like shy, self-conscious, like too self-conscious. Some may call it covert narcissist. It was a way to protect you. The same way narcissists are the way they are when it comes to overestimating their superiority and their importance. They grew up with extreme emotional neglect, and they subconsciously decided that they would make themselves feel emotionally fulfilled. The difference with you is that you told yourself your importance internally You told yourself of your importance internally. You're probably also an introvert and a great empath. So I feel like I'm speaking to an empath who has a lot of self-importance, but you don't share it out loud. You don't like to make people aware of that. You actually avoid that. That actually makes you feel uncomfortable. And it's because you avoid the attention. You avoid the attention. You're not used to it. You don't like it. And although I also am feeling somebody who has a lot of attraction, but it makes you feel very, very uncomfortable. And the reason it makes you feel very uncomfortable is because of the people that you grew up around. Like, the type of attention that you got in the past wasn't great. You may be a Leo. But I'm seeing the type of attention, or you may be a water sign, the type of attention that you got wasn't the greatest. And that way, you're seeking for attention, but you're not making it known, or you're hiding the fact that you're seeking attention. And I'm also getting your ego is very imbalanced in a way where it's so weird. I can see a human brain right now. What I'm seeing is the way your ego was formed or conditioned or programmed is that because you've been made to feel unimportant, you feel like I am important. Like, that ego wants to feel important and loved and is seeking attention, and it didn't get that as a child, so it's unhealed, unformed, very deficient is the word that I'm getting. And that way you are also feeling, bear with me, anyways, that way you are also feeling like it stings you that much more when people disrespect you. It stings you that much more when people ignore you. It bothers you, but I don't see you standing up for yourself. Just because it's something that you're used to, just because it's something that's always happened in your past, I feel like it was hard for you to accept it at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, your pride. You're somebody who has been trying to balance out your ego. Clearly it's been unbalanced because you've not been cared for by an emotionally healthy parent or parents, and you've been trying to, as an adult, make up for the lack of love and the lack of attention, because I am getting attention, like positive attention, the emotional regulation and emotional affection. Like, you've not had that kind of affection, kindness and love from a parent, and because of that you've overestimated, or you have a sense of pride, which is kind of a good thing, but is imbalanced. Pride is a form of trauma. Too much pride is a form of trauma. And because of that, the way you see yourself is also the way you see other people as well. So you may be somebody who subconsciously or even consciously points out people's flaws and mistakes, and you correct people. You don't like to make mistakes. You don't like being corrected, maybe, as well. You're hard on yourself. The way you look, the way you talk, the way you present yourself, I'm hearing you really are trying to compensate for something. You're trying to compensate for the loss, I don't know, for unreceived proper love and affection. If you guys have any cats or dogs, there's something that your pet is trying to tell you. Even if it's not your own pet, like your own cat or dog, a neighbor's one probably, or a friend, or a sibling. Yeah. There's another message here that I want to put in a different video. Okay, this next part that I'm about to read is not for everybody, so please don't try and make it fit. If it doesn't feel like it's for you, it will be very clear if this is you, because you've had an unhealthy relationship or connection with your mother. Some of you it's your father, and some of you it's your mother. So you place the energy where it fits, whoever you were raised by. So your mother or father knew since you were a little child that you were different, that you were gifted. You reminded them of someone in the family who passed away. Somebody older than them. Somebody who was in their life when they were younger. You reminded them of them. This parent of yours also dabbled in magic. If you're a Somali descendant, then you know what Mingus and Ruhan and Brakin is. That's what your parent was into. So a lot of you, it may be a mother. Because yes, males are into that too, but more women than men. People always found you fascinating since you were a child. And they would tell your parent, this child is going to go places. This child is going to accomplish things. This child is very special. This child is very intelligent. The way they speak, the way they look at you, the way they interact. Like, you're somebody who's amazed and fascinated adults since you were a child. So when this parent used to hear this a lot, like when this child grows up this, or when this child grows up that, it kind of made them feel this parent, what I'm seeing is, saw that as competition, like you was going to take their place. I feel like that parent was emotionally neglected as well. Your parent was emotionally neglected. That is why they treated you the way they treated you. You know, when other gurus, mentors, life coaches, spiritualists say your parents could loved you as much as they could, whatever love that they had in them, up to the extent that they knew love. So if they weren't loving towards you, it is because something happened in their childhood. Now, does that make it right or fair? No, but it will help you understand why your childhood was the way it was. It's not because you are not worthy of love. It isn't because you don't deserve love, or that you are worthless, or that you are unlovable. You are very much all of those things, but your parent didn't have the capacity to love you because they were still an unhealed child inside that is in competition with the world, you know. This parent, my light is flickering. This parent was also fearful of you. There's certain things that you've said to them that they still remember, that they brought up a couple of times to you. Maybe to even validate their action towards you. But there's certain things that you've said and done as a child that frightened them, or just stuck with them. They still remember this about you from your like toddler years or kindergarten years, primary school. They mentally and physically and emotionally controlled you and constantly casted spells like curses, hexes, projections, and even their fears of you accomplishing something. So telling you that you couldn't, you would never, you could never, you could never. Those are spells. So if you are somebody who's experienced a parent who told you you're too dumb to do this, or you're too ugly to be that, or you're too weak to be this, or you're too like just negativity, those are spells. Those words, when written down, are spelt. When said, are casted. So remove those, because you've also believed it and you didn't rebuke it when they were said to you. You didn't fight it off. Maybe you used to, and maybe sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't. But I'm getting that it's stored in you as well. It's been so repeated, so drummed into you, that it is still something that is holding you back, that is limiting you. Because when you were vulnerable, the person that was supposed to uplift you was breaking you down. Yeah? So you need to start telling yourself the opposite and rebuke those spells that were put on you by this parent. However, this traumatic experience in your childhood was to block you off your gifts until you were ready. And when you became ready and removed the chains, you're meant to help others also free themselves. You are someone who is going to overcome all of the barriers, all of the chains, all of the shackles, all of the mental health ailments. And I'm even hearing the 7 deadly sins. Earlier I was talking about binging and, overindulging. So you may be somebody who's suffered with not only ADHD, but also addictions and a lot of mental nuances, neurosis. And you're going to brush yourself off. Who is that? I'm seeing an image of, oh my God, that's Mary Magdalene. I'm hearing Mary Magdalene. You may want to look into the real story of Mary Magdalene, because she's not portrayed the real way in religion. She had her own scriptures, or is it yeah, scriptures. She was a lot more that her name was just really spot on. But what are you telling me about Mary Magdalene? How she's overcome mental health ailments as well, and how Jesus helped her. You're somebody who is already on the path of helping themselves, but you'll be able to free yourself of certain bondages when you meet your divine counterpart as well. Apparently they have a part to play. I'm hearing history is repeating itself, so you'll know. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't want to confuse those other people who don't know what I'm talking about if I say what I'm thinking and getting in detail. But as soon as I mentioned Mary Magdalene and Jesus, some of you know what I'm talking about. You don't need me to illiterate that. Okay. Some of you may have a fear of being judged, a fear of being seen. Who cares? Let them. You know what? Sometimes it's about saying, fuck it. This fear has held me back for so long. What else could what's the worst that could happen? I'd rather get out of this feeling of feeling like I want to do something, and it's my own thoughts that's holding me back. Even if it will happen, then what? Just, I think it's called exposure therapy. When someone has a fear, you expose yourself to that fear just so you can eradicate it. Obviously not too extreme, but sometimes you need that exposure to let your self know that it's just in your mind, that it's not real. The brain doesn't know the difference sometimes when it comes to what you're feeling, what you're imagining, and what you're actually literally going through that is happening. The danger that all your physiology, like all of the symptoms in your nervous system and body is preparing for, is just an imagination. It's not a real danger in your way. However, because you're somebody who's been in the shadows, been afraid of being judged and seen, you've been the observer. You've picked up a lot of skills by being the observer. This is how you've heightened your empathic abilities. Some of you may be psychics, psychic mediums, highly intuitive, and it's because of the way that you've had to morph yourself into to survive. You're able to read body language, facial expression, tone of voice, choice of words, even to the point of picking up people's thoughts. You are able to sense and see patterns in vibration, in energy, but also in the physical as well. Cause and effect. You're very analytical, male or female, who I'm speaking to. You're very analytical because of how you had to live. But you were too much in the shadows before. Now it's time for you to come out of the shadows and not worry too much about. The reason you picked up these abilities and skills is because of trying to see the outcome, taking control. You wanted to be in control of how people react towards you, what happens, like the results of your actions, and how things go and how things pan out. Like, you are living in survival mode, in fear. Your cortisol levels are too high. Is it androgen? Like, I'm just seeing an imbalance in hormones because of being in survival mode for so long. And now it's time for you to woosah, to relax, and not care too much about what people think and how people react. You live, you let them react however they want to react. I was going to say 9 times out of 10, but majority of the time, they're just focused on their own thoughts and emotions and what they're dealing with, what's going on in their world, in their mind. They're not too focused on you the way you are. That is a narcissistic trait as well, by the way. I think it's Sigmund Freud, who says that when you're too self-conscious like that, that is a narcissistic trait. Apparently, I think he says depression is also a narcissistic trait, because you're just thinking negatively, but you're pitying yourself. You're thinking about yourself a lot, but in a very negative way, and that's a narcissistic trait. So just live in the now. Depression is also about living in the past as well. I can talk about depression all day long, because I've suffered with depression majority of my life, and I didn't even realize it was depression. Some of you don't even realize it's depression because it's called high functioning depression. Depression doesn't look the same for everybody until, you know, the last result, which is when it gets really bad. When someone can't get out of their bed, that is when it gets really bad. But sometimes there are things that you don't even see as signs, because you assume they're characteristics, personality traits, because the depression started from childhood. A child who's been experiencing abuse in the home, you would think this is their personality when they grow up, but they didn't feel safe enough to be themselves from the home, and they've had to adopt certain, you know, traits, characteristics, and it was all for survival. And if you are somebody who is resonating to everything that I'm saying right now, you need to understand that regulating your nervous system and healing is not going to be quick. Just as much it took years for you to be living in that state, it's gonna take you a while, if not years as well, to regulate yourself and actually discover yourself to the core who you are, because there are little signs inside of you of who you are, how you want to live, what you love about yourself, what you love about life, and the things that inspire you. The things that you love about people are the things that you want or actually carry in you that you've been suppressing. I'm going to repeat that. The things that you absolutely love seeing in other people or in movies tell you a lot. Like, love is a big word. Strong emotions. When you have such strong emotions and you're not being that or doing that, that's a clear indication that you don't believe in yourself, or that you're not being yourself. That is who you are. You're just too afraid to be that, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to end it here because the video is kind of dragged. I hope the messages that I've mentioned in this video has helped you. Do give it a like, share it with whoever you feel like this is going to resonate for, and make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I want to mix up the kind of videos that I post, not only just readings, not only just downloads, but of certain things that I have implemented in my life when it comes to my healing as well, because I too am a collective for some of the downloads. The reason I'm able to dissect certain things is because I've lived it. It's my experience. And the books that I mention and stuff like that are books that I've read to help myself, that I'm sharing with you guys. So I hope that you guys appreciate it. Do let me know your opinions or your feelings in the comment section, and feel free to also ask me of any type of video that you'd like to see me put out there for you to help you in your self-healing journey, in your self-development journey, your self-isolation self-actualization journey. Namaste.